Well, hello everyone. It's been a little while, but been thinking about it and decided to make some more videos. So, this time of the year kind of gets people, at least me, reflecting on the past. For example, wanting to play all different kinds of games, going back and revisiting things from, the early days. Primarily DOS, Windows 95, maybe some Windows 98. But then the question is, what do you do about that? Do you buy a computer? Do you build a computer? Do you do an emulation? Do you try DOSBox? On and on and on. So I've done some experimenting and stuff, and this is what I've come up with. This is a Panasonic Toughbook. It's a CF47, I believe. And what makes this thing interesting is that it can pretty much do anything pre-NT for the most part. So you have a 3.5-inch floppy. You have PCMCIA ports. You also have your LPT ports if needed. You have serial ports. And VGA output if you want. And it even includes a USB port, oddly enough. IR for any of those IR nuts, and I believe this is an external keyboard, and of course power. And then over here, you have, this was a modem, which who uses modems anymore? Who knows? Maybe it's useful. And of course, this does indeed have a battery that is functional, oddly enough, and it has a CD-ROM. So this not only has a 3.5 floppy, but it has a CD-ROM. Also has your AV input on the front, and it is a very well built, decent little machine. It has metal case, or I should say probably either aluminum or magnesium. I'm not 100% sure, but very, very tough. Nice little unit. Decent little keyboard, decent little mouse. And yeah, it's a P2. I should say Pentium 2. And we're going to get this thing up and running, and I'm going to show you how to turn this into the ultimate retro laptop. Okay, now on these kind of laptops, they're not exactly the easiest to find in decent shape. I actually have quite a few sitting around here, Dells and Gateways and whatnot, and they've all got miscellaneous problems and whatnot. This one in particular has virtually no issues except for one major issue, and that is the old mechanical hard drives. And that's an issue with any computer prior to SATA interfaces and whatnot. But the nice thing about having one with an IDE drive is that it still has the hardware to support in hardware a lot of DOS stuff, mainly your AV stuff, has sound and serial and parallel ports and things of that nature. If you're into using that type of stuff, primarily for games. I mean, yes, you could use emulation and whatnot, but what's the fun in that? So the big thing about this is putting in and basically going around the IDE part of it. So you have a couple of different options. Now you do have the CF to IDE adapter. Now I'm not big on the CF cards or compact flashes. I know a lot of people like them, and I understand that they can be great, but for whatever reason, they don't work good for me. I have no idea why. So I have always just shied away from them. On the other hand, my favorite is SD. Those seem to be the best for me, and this in particular is an SD to IDE adapter. These things are super, super cheap. You can get them anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks depending on where you go. They work really, really well. The other one is super overkill, and these are IDE adapters as well. Yeah, these are MSATA to IDE. I said super overkill on a build like this. This is actually for another laptop, which is far more capable than this one, and it really isn't quite what we're going for on this one. And the main reason that I like the SD card adapters is the fact that you can, not necessarily on the fly, but you can swap out the SD cards. So here's what I have here. Okay, so I have a 2 gig SD card for DOS. I have a 4 gig SD card for Windows 95. And I have a 32 gig SD card for Windows 98. Now, these two are already fully loaded with the operating system and the drivers for this laptop. They are good to go. And I wanted to make sure, because those are a little bit harder to set up, and definitely wouldn't want to waste a bunch of time on a video setting those up, and who would want to watch that anyway? It's just Windows 95, Windows 98. However, this one, DOS, super simple, super quick, and whatnot. But what makes this so nice is, for example, you have DOS. Well, you put in DOS, you fire up the computer, and you're good to go. Turn it off, pull this out, throw in Windows 95, and turn it back on, and you're back to running Windows 95. It's that simple and easy to change out operating systems and to do different things. Also, another neat thing is you can pull this out, throw this in a more modern computer, add in whatever you want, games, files, whatever you want to do, and then throw it back in, and you're good to go. Especially on these older systems that really don't have a lot of connection options. The only problem is, in a system like this, and in with many systems, the hard drive is mounted down inside. So, what do you do then? Every time you want to change out the card, then you got to tear down the whole, part of the unit just to get to it. That doesn't make it super convenient. Well, that's what makes these so nice. These are SD card extenders. So essentially, you put this in, mount this in, you mount this in the device, and then you have this somewhere externally that would allow you to switch out cards very easily. You just pop them in and pop them out, and you're good to go. Now, on this particular laptop, the hard drive is down underneath the keyboard here. But it leaves us with, where do you put something externally? Do we just have it hanging out the side and looking like, a piece of crap? Or do we want to do something that looks nice, almost as if it was meant to be? And that's what I'm going to go for. Right here in this area, right here, there is a compartment. Now, this is where the modem or LAN card is inserted. And you remove these 2 screws. And inside of here is this plate. I don't know if this is magnesium or aluminum. Can't really tell. It could be magnesium or some sort of an alloy. But look at this. We got January 19, 2000, December the 2nd, 1999, and January the 19th, 2000. Okay, no, I guess these two match, but yeah, pretty wild that they put dates on there like that. Anyway, so we have this little compartment right here. And there's this little block-off piece right here for, I'm guessing like there was a multi-card or something. I really don't know, that mounted here. However, this is a nice little compartment. The other thing that's nice too is inside there is a slot right here that goes deeper in, and it actually goes into the hard drive compartment. So to get this apart, you have to pop 2 little tabs on the back, here and here. Then you open this up all the way. Now, this particular plastic piece here is cracked in the middle. but it's not that big of a deal. So we pop this up. It's off. Cranky. Okay, there's that one. We'll pop this one off. Like so. When you've seen speakers this large on an older computer like this. Anyway, the keyboard just slides up like that. Kind of put it over here. And the hard drive is right here. So this is the hard drive tray. So let's pull some of this stuff out of here. And I purchased this from Goodwill. And Goodwill typically removes all the hard drives and stuff. Fortunately, they didn't tear this up. But they did leave the rubber shock mounts and the plastic case. Or I should say carrier for the hard drive. But the hard drive was, I believe it was missing in this one. Anyway, you have your IDE cable here. Really short. Barely in there. And then, of course, you have your plastic case here. So, you have this. Now, you have the option of just throwing this in and just letting it dangle, if you so desire. However, if you go on Thingiverse, you can find files to make these, which is an IDE to standard, or the SD to IDE adapter to 2.5 inch drive bay adapter. Just put in SD to IDE, you pull these things up. And they're super simple. I think this one I modified a little bit because there was a few things that I didn't like. I think there was a bar or something back here that I didn't like the way it was. But anyway, you just essentially just take this guy and you know, of course, print it out, and then you just set your little adapter card in here. It just clips in, and it emulates an actual IDE drive. And I'm going to try to fit this back in as if it was a hard drive. Let's see if I can accomplish it here. Alright. I'm going to set this in here as like this. Okay. And we gotta look for the missing part. Oh, I see a problem already. So this needs to go. Alright, so I have to put this in first. See if I can get this twisted around here. Like that. Okay. Okay, let's see if this works now. Alright, there is a blank spot on these IDE cables, typically on a lot of them, and the blank spot has to line up with the missing pin on here, so they're kind of key. You can only go one way or another. So we need to fit this guy in now. Like so. I think it's fit. Yep, it's fit in. And then it's essentially going to go in there like that. Now, this would be basically the redneck version of doing something like this. We don't want to do that. So, what we're going to do, now we have this connected. Let's see if this will work here. I'm going to pull this guy back out. Okay. So pull this back out temporarily. Pull this back over here to this side. Then, let's see. We're going to need to put this, let's see, go like this. So this way. Go through this little gap in the framing here. Right there. See it coming through down there? So we're going to go right through there. Come up through here. Careful not to bend or break anything. Alright, there we go. Click that in. Alright, oh shoot. You know, this is like a puzzle trying to do all of this. This all has to fit together a specific way or it will not work. Or I should say, will not work right. Okay. So we have this in here and here. I'm going to go through here, pull a bunch of this up inside, like so. And then pretty much just clips back in here. Alright. Put some of these little pieces back in here. Get them back in. Now some of the stuff, you just set it down in here. There are little slots that it goes in, and if you can get them there, that's great. If not, well, I just do it so that things don't rattle around too much. Of course, mileage will vary depending on which model, basically which laptop you use, whether it's Gateway, Dell, whatnot. Okay, there we go. Flip this guy around. It has latches. Now we'll just latch it there. Close this back up. Flip this back over. Now, obviously this case is too thick to fit down in this area. So what we're going to do is we are going to remove 4 screws that hold this together. Now, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be questions as to where to get this stuff. And both of these items that I'm putting in here, they both came off of Amazon. And it's very simple to search for them. So the card that's inside is just an SD to IDE adapter. Type that in, you'll pull up a whole bunch of them. Some of them are Amazon Prime. You know, U.S. warehouses, super simple to get, no problem. And this is just a simple SD card extender. Now, or extension. There's many different sizes. I think I just ordered a shorter one. I don't even remember what the distance is on this one. But they're all, I wouldn't say they're all the same, but they're all very similar, and they definitely function pretty much the same. Now, as you can see, it's literally, inside's literally just a board, and it literally just has, what, one component? Looks like one component right here. It's possibly a fuse? It's hard to tell. And just the actual Yeah, it's literally all this does is just extend out um, the the uh, the port to accept the card. That's all it does. So I am very particular. I like things facing upwards, so it goes in like so. So I'm going to want this to mount like this. Now, I think it's best mounted to here. So that's how I'm going to mount this. I'm going to use these, which is just foam mounting tape. This stuff is simple stuff. I think this is branded super glue. It's just a brand thing. Anyway, these are small little pads that have foam on them, and they work really good. They're very strong, and they're great for mounting things such as this. So I'm going to put one there. And I'll put one down here, such as that. Then I'll put another one right here. Okay. And we'll peel this back. Now, I want to get this fairly center. Kind of like this. And I think that should work pretty good right there. So there we go. And that's what it looks like there. So we can just set a card in here. And it's simple and easy to swap out. Get used to it here. There we go. Now eventually, if I like this, I may end up just making a plate to kind of block off the area around here, or at least be a face plate for this. I think that would be kind of cool, because there are mounting tabs and whatnot, so I can use this as an example of size and just make a plate for this and kind of make it neat, but it'll make it nice and easy to swap things out. Only thing that's left is to click this back in. Go. There. There. Okay. Now, I'm going to hook up the power supply and we'll install DOS on this. Okay, now that we have the laptop set up with the SD card to IDE adapter mounted and set up the way we want, we need to get the software that we want to use put onto the laptop. Now I'm going to use Windows 95 to burn the 3.5 floppies to install DOS on a computer. So that way I know that everything should be absolutely correct and period correct. and shouldn't have any problems. The best place I know of to find vintage software is winworldpc.com. This is their MS-DOS section. You can go basically any variety you want. Now I'm going to do the 6.22. You can do the 7.1, and I don't know. Just something about this one, I worry about compatibility issues. So I'm going to use 6.22, which I used many times and I know will absolutely work. So I'm going to download this version right here, 6.22 Plus Enhanced Tools. So I'm downloading that one, and then I'm going to be using this over here called Dan Systems Disk Writer. And this is a lightweight, basically lightweight application. It says it works well on Windows 95, 98, NT4, and 2000. Should be period correct for what we're wanting to do. So I'm going to download this guy here, and I'm going to get all the files and install them on the Windows 95 SD card, hard drive, if you will, and then we'll crank it up and burn some 3.5 floppies. Okay, here we are in Windows 95. We're going to go over here. We have our MS-DOS files here on the desktop, and we have Disk Writer, which we downloaded. We just downloaded and put on here. So let's open this up. So all we got to do is go over here, and let's see. We go up to Desktop, go to our MS-DOS files. We'll do disk 1 image first, and we have a disk in. Let's knock these 3 out real quick. Okay, just got all of the install disks finished, and went ahead and went through each one to make sure that they actually recorded. So now we're going to power down and switch hard drives and see how hard it's going to be to throw DOS on this machine. So we pull out Windows 95 hard drive. We put in our DOS hard drive, and we put in our first install disk. Let's fire this up and see what happens. Now, as we're doing this, I want to talk a little bit. I would really appreciate it if you guys would like and subscribe. I know my channel hasn't been doing the greatest over the last, well, I haven't been doing much in the last few years, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I won't bore you with all the details, but needless to say, I feel like making videos again. So I'm going to make videos again. And most of my videos are basically just going to be me doing stuff I like to do, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it too. If you do enjoy it, I'm super happy, because then it means that there's other people like me out there. But let's see what we got here. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, sounds good. Anyway, I'm just gonna do things. I've got a lot of projects that I want to get done, and I'm like, hey, why don't I just go ahead and film those? I built a lot of other stuff, and I just didn't feel like videoing it. Shooting YouTube videos isn't exactly the most glamorous thing out there, and it does add on a ton of time. And you know, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I just like to do things and not be bothered by stuff. And I will say up front, I'm not exactly the best at getting back with messages or comments. I'm just not. I'm busy. I run a business. I do a lot of different stuff in my personal life, and you know, these are kind of my way of escaping and just kind of reaching out to see if there's other people like it, like me, and if they like it or not. I'll stumble around and fumble on my words and say goofy things and do goofy stuff and whatnot. But that's just me. That's me, and that's what you're going to get on this channel. Um, but yeah, if you like it, please subscribe. If you want to throw a message and say, "Hey, I like what you're doing a good job," or don't be a hater. Don't be saying a bunch of crap. Look, if you don't like it, just don't watch it. I mean, that just not for me. That's for anyone. All right, don't go on YouTube and just sit there and act like you know more than everyone. If you do, that's great. Wonderful for you. You know more, great. Go do your own thing. But just spreading out a bunch of hate and spewing a bunch of crap on people and making people feel bad and making them walk away from their channels for a while, or making them just not want to be part of the human race anymore because of all the comments. Just don't. It's bad, and it's not just bad for them. It can be bad for you too. Because I mean, if you're out there doing that kind of crap, it says a bit about you. So, and I hope you find happiness, and I hope everything goes good with you, and I hope everything works out. But you know, just stop. The world's bad enough as it is without a bunch of crappy comments. But if you want to leave good comments, great. I'm not exactly. If you have a project and you're working on something and you need advice, I may not be the guy for you because I'm just not. I do my things, and I don't want to seem selfish or anything, but I do my things, and it's just the way I am. I'm not going to apologize. It's just the way I was made. But anyway, I'm going to run through this real quick. I'll probably fast forward through a bunch of this stuff, so that way this video isn't 2 hours long. And we'll see how it works, and we'll fire up DOS and see it install, and then we'll finish up. Well, I would like to say that everything went off without a hitch, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. You saw me go through this whole thing, and I restarted, and it didn't do anything. Come to find out, this apparently is incompatible. I was trying to do it on this 2 gig SD card, it didn't work. So I dug around, and I got a 4 gig, and this is an SDHC card, and well, it seems to be working. So I was able to get DOS installed. It didn't seem to work, and I loaded some files on here. So let's see if this will work now. Alright, let's see. Yeah, one thing I did forget too was I forgot to do to do fdisk and to go through and to make sure I set the active partition. But even after I did that on the other card, I did it like 4 different times, and it did not work. So no matter what I did with it, just would not work. So I was trying to use the smaller ones for DOS because you know how DOS it only goes so big. So this one is partitioned into two 2 gig partitions. One of them, which is going to be your primary DOS partition, and the second one will be one for games and applications and stuff like that. So that's kind of the way I have it split right now. And let's see how it works. Okay, so we're starting MS DOS. And all right, so we started. Now this is very bare bones, pretty much just what was off of the install floppies. I haven't done any modifications to it. There's no CD-ROM drivers, nothing like that. So like right now, if you go in here to directory, it's your basic DOS install. So let's go to D. All right, and I got this DOS bench from another YouTuber. I forget his name right now, but he's a great guy. And anyway, I'm going to give this a try here. So let's go to the. I'm too used to Linux. Okay. So which one do I run? Do I run choice? Let's see. Yes, no. Yes. Alright, let's try more. Okay. Huh. Okay. It just shows I've never run this before, so I have no idea. Maybe I'll go into the marks folder? Don't know. Don't know at all. So let's see. Alright, D, R, C, DOS, bench, R, CD, marks, DR, and let's just try 3D bench. How about that? CD 3D bench. Alright, 3D bench. Hey! I've seen this before. Okay. That's interesting. Let's try 3D bench 2. Okay, 3D bench 2. Well, it actually did something. It worked. So 189.6 frames per second. Okay, I'd say this is a pretty competent DOS machine then. So let's go to some of my absolute it's hard to type around a camera on a keyboard you're unfamiliar with. Okay. So how about we try Duke Nukem? That doesn't work. Okay, I have no idea what in the world's going on with that directory. Duke E. One, 4. What is this? This 1. Okay, I have no idea. All right, CD. Try Doom. Doom 1. Hey, that worked. Alright, so let's go to de-ice. Yep, C. Yes. Good old Doom installer. Okay, dir. Oops, dir. Okay. Doom 1. I'm assuming that this is version 1.2, maybe? Alright, Doom. Oh, so it's one of these things. Problem with some of these older liquid crystal displays, they don't show any resolution other than their native resolution. So there's no resizing. So if we're sitting here at, let's say, 800 by 600, and this is makes a 640 or a different resolution that's quite a bit smaller than this, it's just going to show that and nothing else. So I guess I'll play around with this and see. Although this does have video out, so that does help a little bit. And I mean, this isn't the end of the world, but yeah, this does make it a little frustrating here. Is there settings? Let's see. Okay. Alright, yeah, there is a setup. I'm curious to see. This is supposed to be Sound Blaster compatible. Just gonna go with the standard here and see. No audio on Doom. Well, this would definitely need a lot more setting up, but I still say that for a mobile laptop, this is really nice for running DOS stuff. Not necessarily games. For example, if you were wanting to run an old version of Mach for 3D or for machine systems and stuff like that, which is something that I was interested in doing. One of the main reasons is that I don't know if you've ever run Mach before, but it seems to work a lot better if you have it in a pure DOS environment versus running it in, say, Windows 98. Windows 98 or Windows 95 can be very sketchy because you're running a layer on top of DOS, and Windows 95 isn't exactly the best operating systems out there. Okay, let's be real here. It's pretty terrible. But DOS, for industrial applications, DOS is freaking rock solid. So, you know, if you're wanting to run stuff, machine equipment, say if you want to set up anything to do with running motors, linear actuators, controlling sensors, doing things like that, and you want to do it in a DOS environment versus an Arduino or Raspberry Pi or any of those things, you kind of want to keep it simple and maybe even go back to some of the retro tools. And there's reasons for that, at least in my mind. Now, everyone has their own opinions on it, but in my mind, it the older stuff is simpler and in some ways, but we'll address that someday. However, here we go. This is a Panasonic CF47 Toughbook. Has its IDE drive upgraded to an SD card. Has a slot on the side, easily changeable. For example, we're running DOS. All we have to do, power off, pull the card out. Here's your DOS hard drive. Here's a Windows 95 hard drive. And we flip it over. We power up. And within just a moment, we'll be on Windows 95. And it's actually surprisingly quick, considering the age of the computer. And if you remember, and not be used to, you reboot Windows, you might as well just go grab something to drink, take a leak, maybe go warm up the car or something before you even get back and it even starts. Over now, there we go. We're back, ready to log into Windows 95. So, there we go. This is how to take an old crappy laptop and make it into the ultimate retro laptop. Alright, thanks for watching this video. I know it's been a little bit long, but it's just me getting back into it. So, everybody out there, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you want to. That's great. Apparently YouTube now doesn't really do the thumb down because it hurts too many people's feelings or something. I don't know. Who knows? I have a feeling it has something to do with a guy named Brandon. I don't know exactly what. Something about him going? I don't know. But anyway, you guys take care of each other. See you next time. Bye-bye.